Make your way to the foot of the stairs, ready to head up the stairs and across the stage. All very straightforward. There are two key things which make for a seamless ceremony. Firstly, as soon as the person ahead of you begins to cross the stage, please make sure you make your way up the stairs. Please don't wait until they've passed across the stage before you reach the top of the stairs. Secondly, don't let excitement and pride overwhelm you so much that you forget to pick up your degree parchment after you've crossed the stage. If you do, don't worry, you have still graduated, but don't try to go back because you will collide with someone coming the other way. Instead, please visit the Graduation Information Desk in the Exhibition Centre where you collected your gown 30 minutes after the ceremony to collect your parchment. Graduands, you are asked to raise or doff your cap rather than shake hands with the Vice-Chancellor when you are called on stage. And please feel free to remove your face covering temporarily whilst on the stage and pause for a moment at the spot marked X in the centre of the stage for that all-important photo opportunity. At the end of the ceremony, graduates are asked to process out of the hall directed by the stewards. Family and friends, the stewards will show you to the exits once the graduates have left the hall. If the fire alarm should sound at any point, please remain in your seats. Instructions will be given and we'll show you to the nearest exit. Today, our graduating students become alumni of the University of York, and you will join an international community of over 140,000 York alums in 180 countries. Your Alumni Association is a vibrant and active global network offering events, services and opportunities designed to help you make connections with other alumni across the world and to support your career development. We will be with you every step of the way as you embark on this next chapter, and you will shortly receive an email giving further details on ways in which you can remain connected and involved. In the meantime, please follow our alumni social media channels on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter, and check out the Alumni Association website to keep in touch and know more about life as a York graduate. As you get your first job or take up further study or training, please remember to keep us in touch with what you're doing. Understanding the career paths that you take will help us to provide the right support for current students and make sure that we continue to offer graduates like you relevant information and opportunities. I'm told that there may be a little bit of an error in how the subtitling interprets the names that are announced. So for those watching the live stream, please rest assured that the names of the graduates are correctly printed in the commemorative brochure. Finally, can I ask you to mute your mobile phones, and if you're comfortably able, would you now please stand?
I declare this congregation open for the conferment of awards upon all graduates. Please be seated. And a very, very warm welcome to the University of York. My name's Charlie Jeffery. I'm the Vice-Chancellor of the university. Graduation ceremonies are always special occasions. They're a celebration of our graduates' achievements, and they're a moment of transition with all the excitement and anticipation that comes with our graduates moving on to the next phase of their lives. They're also something else this year. This is our first in-person graduation series for 2 years. Those last 2 years have been among the most extraordinary we'll experience in our lifetimes. COVID has had such far-reaching, awful impacts on our health, our economies, our societies. Amid that, we've seen unprecedented disruption to our operation as a university, as have our graduands in their studies. It's therefore all the more a moment of celebration to be in this hall in person with our graduands today. Even with the masks, the tests and all the precautions we've had to get used to. And we're so delighted that friends and family of our graduands can also be with us in person to witness this ceremony and join us in celebration today. You're all very welcome. Sadly, some of our graduands can't be here today, given the difficulties of international travel. Some of their families and friends face the same problem and can't be with us. Others have had the misfortune to test positive just at the wrong moment. They too are in our thoughts, and we will of course invite them all to a graduation celebration at a point when they're able to attend. I'll reflect more towards the end of the ceremony on the challenges we all, but especially you, our graduands, have had to face over the last 2 years. But now, we move into the main part of the ceremony, and with that, and through the power vested in me by the University of York, I have great pleasure in conferring awards on all graduands listed for this ceremony in the graduation programme.
Vice-Chancellor, I have the honour to present the following candidates for the degree of Master of Arts in Education. Noor Ayuni Binti Che Ahmed Shakri. Ter Xiao Li. Warissa Sanglan Silapachai. Xia Ying Tan. Magdalena Teklo. Xiaolan Wong. Yanxing Xue. Xiaoling Ye. For the degree of Master of Arts in Global and International Citizenship Education, Shanti Kandola Wade. Zena Puspita Sari. For the degree of Master of Arts in Social Justice and Education, Rachel Atkinson. Alyssa Cathaldi. Vicky J. Chang. Björn Manning. Bethany Morris. Rebecca Simpson. Phoebe Stevenson. For the degree of Master of Arts in Teaching English to Speakers of Other Languages, Noor Ismail. Li Yang Luo. Ya Ching Chao. Yin Jie Chu. For the degree of Master of Science in Mental Health and Wellbeing in Education, Amy Bennett. Abigail Bicknell. Lauren Ann Davison. Lois Dickerson. Eleanor Fallon. Megan Hemingway. Bethany Hinchcliffe. Tareem Hussain. Anya Kimball. For the degree of Master of Science in Psychology and Education, Tegan Allen Warwick. Catherine Brooks. William Coleman. Owen Davies. Matilda Alice Fothergill. Bethan Grimes. Anna Wen Guo. Gemma Holden. Seda Karaibisoglu. Georgia Lown. Ellis Mayer. Lucy McQueenie. Jessie Moore Fogarty. Nikita Motsopoulou. Matthew Neal. Christopher Pryor. Megan Ryder Green. Amy Smith. Sammy Stevenson. Catherine Tyndall. For the degree of Bachelor of Science in Psychology and Education, Amina Bibi. Vice-Chancellor, I have the honour to present the following candidates for the degree of Master of Arts in Social Research. Abigail Bowling. Bryony Butcher. Mitchell Chambers. Lucy Dixon. Anna Horwitz. Sunny Lowe. Sophie Marshall. Genevieve Reeves. Alice Richardson. Justin Robinson. Christopher Sidorenko.
Ladies and gentlemen, Ensemble Anonimi will perform Come Fly With Me by Frank Sinatra, arranged by Rachel Singer, and Respect by Aretha Franklin, arranged by Joshua Adams.
let's fly away. Let's fly away. If you can use some exotic booze, there's a bar in far Bombay. Come fly with me, let's fly away.
Come fly with me, let's float down to Peru.
Way down to Peru.
In Llama Land, there's a one-man band, and he'll toot his flute for you.
Come fly with me, let's take off in the blue.
Fly me to the moon, and let me play among the stars. Let me see what spring is like on Jupiter and Mars. In other words, hold my hand. In other words, baby, kiss me.
Baby, fill my heart with song and let me sing forevermore.
More.
You are all I long for, all I worship and adore.
In other words, please be true. In other words,
I love you.
oh, weatherwise,
It's such a lovely day. A lovely day. Oh, just say the word and we'll beat those birds down to Acapulco Bay. And it's perfect for a flying honeymoon. They say, come on, fly with me. Come fly, let's fly. Fly.
let's fly away.
What you want, baby, I got it. What you need, do you know I got it? All I'm asking is for a little respect when you come home. Hey, baby, when you get home,
Just a little bit.
mister.
I ain't gonna do you wrong while you're gone. Ain't gonna do you wrong, 'cause I don't wanna. All I'm asking is for a little
Respect when you come home, baby. When you get home, just a little bit.
Just a little bit. I'm about to give you all of my money, and all I'm asking in return, honey, is to give me my prospers when you get home. Hey, baby, when you get home.
Just a little bit.
Yeah.
Just a little bit.
Don't matter what I do,
Your kisses, sweeter than honey. And guess what? So is my money. All I want you to do for me is give it to me. Yeah, baby. With it to respect. Just a little bit now. Just a little bit. R-E-S-P-E-C-T. Find out what it means to me. R-E-S-P-E-C-T. Take care of TCB. And respect. Just a little bit. I get tired, keep on trying. You're running out of fools and I ain't lying. Respect.
Vice-Chancellor, I have the honour to present the following candidates for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy in Sociology. This is Dilvin Dilara Usta Gamusku. For the degree of Master of Arts in Criminology and Social Research, Michael Bird. Anna Kelsall. For the degree of Master of Arts in Culture, Society and Globalisation, Laura Jackson. Wen Lee. For the degree of Master of Arts in Social Media and Social Research, Ana Huican Fuentes. Zihao Jin. Kongwei Chong. For the degree of Master of Science in Social Media and Interactive Technologies, Anjay Feng. Carl Linden. Yu Wen Xin. Garnett Geraldine Tanya. Yi Wang. Zheyu Yang. For the degree of Master of Science in Social Media and Management, Begum Doyan. Li Li. Seili Li. Yingting Li. Yashin Liao. Yeachin Pu. Ye Ying Wang. Zixuan Zhao. For the degree of Bachelor of Arts in Criminology, Thomas Bell.
Vice-Chancellor, I have the honour to present the following candidates for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy in Theatre, Film, Television and Interactive Media by Creative Practice, Tracy Melody Mathewson. For the degree of Master of Arts in Playwriting, Sophie Green. David Tufnell. Christian Walney.
Vice-Chancellor, I have the honour to present the following candidates for the degree of Master of Arts in Women's Studies. Thea Ashby. Sophia Day. Izzy Hall. For the degree of Master of Arts in Women's Studies Humanities, Amy Asquith. Sarah Chadwick. Rachel Hazelwood. Ying Huang. For the degree of Master of Arts in Women's and Gender Studies, Saida Rumana Mehdi. Nyung Nguyen. Anna Ragonesi Muñoz. Paipasa Shrestha. Martha Snow. For the degree of Master of Arts in Women, Violence and Conflict, Jessica Robinson. Alexandra Yule.
It is my enormous pleasure to introduce Anna Ragonesi Muñoz, our student orator who will speak on behalf of the class of 2022. Our student orators have been invited to speak in recognition of their hard work on behalf of the student community and commitment to their studies. Our speakers have both pursued the most enriching experience they could during their time at York, as well as giving back to their community. On behalf of the class of 2022, I give you Anna Ragonesi Muñoz.
Good evening, everybody. In my own language, hola todas y todos, y hola mi familia en Colombia. My name is Anna Ragonesi Muñoz. Thank you so much for your attention. It is for me an honor to be here sharing with you this special moment. I studied the Erasmus Mundus Master Degree in Women's and Gender Studies. The first years of the program took place at the University of Granada in Spain, the second one at the University of York. I arrived in Europe on the 11th of September 2019, and after 6 months of living here, the lockdown due to the COVID pandemic started. 2/3 of my program was studied virtually and on a set of roller coasters of feelings and emotions. Fears, worries, and isolation, as well as hope, love, and compassion. I am Colombian, and most of the time while I was studying the master's degree program, I lived isolated by myself, and my family lived in Colombia. However, I never felt lonely or abandoned, quite the opposite. My classmates, my teachers, new and old friends, my family and neighbors were my support. Solidarity, generosity, and care is all I was able to experience from others. For me, this speech is the opportunity to emphasize these 3 words: solidarity, generosity, and care. Because in one of the hardest and complex moments of our recent days, people around the world, especially in our daily life and in small details, have proved and demonstrated that we need each other. We are here now in this graduation ceremony because someone had an act of solidarity, generosity, and care for us. We are here now because somebody was our support just when we needed it most. This is the biggest lesson. We need each other. We need our loved one, but we also need unknown people. All those whose act of kindness brought some relief to our life, especially in those moments of absolute fear, hopelessness, loneliness, and despair. Today, as graduates, we have an enormous responsibility to place at the service of our societies all our knowledge, experience, skills, as well as our dreams, to contribute to the pursuit of a better society for everyone. A friend of mine told me that the relationship between the one who offers a service and the one who receives it is the essence of happiness, because giving and receiving is the most valuable experience in existence. So we need to spread more acts of solidarity, generosity, and care to achieve our happiness, but also to bring happiness to others. It does not matter what our field of expertise or knowledge is. The world needs more sensitive people for whom compassion, goodness, empathy, and love are still the basis of a great human being, but also of a great professional. On behalf of all the graduates that are here sharing these special moments, we want to express our most sincere gratitude to our families, friends, professors, supervisors, to all the university staff, to our classmates and neighbors, and to all those unknown people, because your presence has been light in our life. We hope now we can be a light for others. Thank you very much.
It is my great pleasure to introduce a message of congratulations from honorary graduate of the University of York, Dame Sharon White.
Hi, I'm Sharon White, and I'm chairman of the John Lewis Partnership, which owns Waitrose and John Lewis. I'm also privileged to be an honorary doctor of the University of York. I wanted to say an enormous congratulations on your graduation. Many, many, many congratulations on your success, particularly with all the trauma and challenges of studying during COVID. I'm sure with both all the sort of anxiety of COVID itself, but also the sort of roller coaster of face-to-face and online teaching. You've made it, you've reached the finish line, and that's something hugely to be celebrated. What is so fantastic about the University of York, and it's a pleasure for me to have this association with the university, is the focus on social purpose. And it's something that also sits right at the heart of the business that I run, the John Lewis Partnership, which is very much centred on people and the importance of work and the importance of social mobility. I'm sure you'll be thinking about what happens next after university. Perhaps some of you will be staying on to study further, others of you perhaps thinking about the world of work. And I hope and am confident that the focus on purpose, on meaning, on doing good, making a difference, particularly at this time when so much is changing in our world. The labour market is changing. All our expectations about what we want from life and work have changed so dramatically during COVID. I wish you every success and all the best in finding work that feels as much like a vocation and a pleasure as it does like a piece of employment. So many congratulations again, and I hope you have great fun celebrating.
Graduates, guests and colleagues, graduation ceremonies are among the most special parts of my job. They mark the creativity, the energy, the passion and the sheer hard work that you, our graduates, have put into your studies. I've just had the privilege of being the first person to congratulate each graduand as they became a graduate. And I can now be the first person, too, to tell you how proud the university is of you. And I'm sure your supporters, your family and friends here and elsewhere agree. So I ask them, along with my colleagues, to applaud you, our new graduates. The University of York is a special place. It's less than 60 years old, yet already regarded as one of the UK's best universities and has an outstanding reputation worldwide. All the measures we routinely use about the quality of teaching, the excellence of research, the prospects of graduates, the impact on the economy, all confirm that strength, that reputation, that quality. But there's more to it than that. Our work is underpinned by powerful values. Our founders set up this university for public good. Our students weren't just to be technically proficient in their fields, but also to be able to apply their learning for social benefit. And not just in the UK, and this was the language that they used back in the early 1960s, as citizens of the world. And we were to care, I quote, more than almost anything else about ensuring access to university education for those who previously not had the opportunity. And our research was intended not just to open up new knowledge, but also to apply that knowledge with and through its students for, and I quote again, the amelioration of human life and conditions. Or in other words, for public good. Those values were, I think, captured quite wonderfully in the message of congratulation you just heard from Dame Sharon White. Now, I said at the opening of the ceremony that I would give some further reflections on the challenges we've all faced over the last 2 years. I think our values, our commitment to public good at the University of York, have been vital in the way that we've responded to those challenges. You may remember that a little less than 2 years ago, we were the #1 item on the news, the centre of national and international attention, when York saw the first confirmed COVID cases in the UK, one of them a student of ours. Little did we know, amid the media maelstrom at that time, that this was just a prelude. Since then, COVID has taken a horrifying toll. We've seen over 5.5 million deaths worldwide, over 150,000 here in the UK. Many millions more have been ill, many of them badly so. Our economies have been severely disrupted. We've endured so many restrictions on social interaction. Little did we know all of that 2 years ago when we had those first cases in York. But there was something in that experience in late January 2020 that set a tone which has endured. So let me pick out some recollections from our first encounter with COVID in January 2020. First and foremost, there was an extraordinary sense of shared purpose that arose immediately across the university community. Even though things were uncertain, nobody knew very much about COVID back then, student staff and people across the city came together. It was heartening, for example, to see Samara Jones, the then president of the Students' Union, on the front steps of the university, before the amassed TV cameras and a frenzied pack of journalists, basically saying, "Look, you lot, just keep calm, we've got this." And when we set up a call centre to deal with all the many anxious inquiries that came our way, we had more volunteers from our staff to handle those calls than you could shake a stick at. They understood the anxiety that people felt, and they responded with understanding and compassion. And when a tiny minority in the city resorted to stereotypes and scapegoating about where the virus had first emerged, the response in the university and across the city was emphatic. We are not having that here. It is not acceptable. Instead, the city rallied round. We worked from the off with the City Council, the local NHS, York St John University just down the road, to manage that uncertain situation. That set a tone which has persisted and has been a tremendous asset for the city over the last 2 years. Now, those responses, shared purpose, compassion, solidarity, collaboration, became emblems of this university's COVID response. Let me pick out a few examples. Before I turn to our students, I'd like to dwell for a moment on my colleagues and the combination of dedication, hard work and creativity that they have applied to teaching and to supporting our students. At times we had to shift teaching and support services fully online. At others we could do only some things in person. Only recently have we been able to move generally to in-person activity. As government guidance shifted on several occasions, my colleagues, lecturers, timetablers, technicians, cleaners, have had to adapt again and again and again. That has, to be frank, been a strain, especially when it was combined with working from home, especially in periods when many had homeschooling to contend with too. I think the shared professional commitment to our students by our staff through all of this has been extraordinary. What has also been extraordinary is how all this has been accompanied by continuing outstanding research achievement. Colleagues have found the time and the inventiveness to continue their research. Just look at some of the great stories on our website. And also to bring in the funding to do even more of it. And of course, some of that in all parts of the university has been focused on COVID and its effects. What a confirmation our response to the pandemic has been of the value of universities and of the value of the expertise they hold to our society. Extraordinary too was the way staff of all kinds mobilised to support the welfare of our students. We had, for example, a really difficult moment in October 2020. Some of you here may remember this, when over 2,000 students were in COVID self-isolation on campus and around the city. We had to make sure they were fed and had other essentials. That was a huge logistical challenge. And we could only deal with it because staff from all backgrounds volunteered on top of their day jobs to make up food packs, to deliver them, to phone students every day to make sure they were okay, and much more. So let me record my thanks to my colleagues, and let me call on you, our graduates, to join me in applauding our outstanding staff and all they've done to support you through your time here. A second theme in our COVID response concerns our students. It's been an extraordinarily difficult time for our students, with teaching having to be delivered in different ways, with less in-person contact than any of us would have wanted, and with all those other parts of the student experience, sports, society's nightlife, at times in part or wholly off limits. Many students have had COVID. Many more have had to self-isolate because one of their flatmates came down with it. Some struggled financially because part-time work dried up amid COVID restrictions. The whole experience has been taxing on mental health and well-being. And to be frank, students have had very little in the way of support or even understanding on the part of our government. Now that sounds like a tale of negatives. But there's more to it than that. It's not the whole story. That's in part because of the commitment of our staff to deliver the best education they could and to support student welfare as best they could. It's in part because our students themselves were so resilient. They adapted to studying in different ways. They adapted to socialising in different ways, in part online, in part outdoors. When we were able last year, we ran an outdoor facility called the Forest. It was booked out every night it was open by student societies, sports clubs, colleges, no matter what the weather. And my goodness, socialising outside in a Yorkshire winter takes real commitment. And then there were our students' unions, which were so inventive, working with my colleagues to identify student needs and solve them, including hundreds of 4G boosters for students with unreliable Wi-Fi, including Christmas hampers in December 2020 for care-experienced students, but also international students unable to travel home, delivered to their door by special arrangement with Morrison's. And beyond all that, our students rallied to support their community in the city. Our COVID test site on campus, it's a community test site open to anybody in the city, has been staffed throughout by students. And students have volunteered in the community in all sorts of ways. One that stands out for me is the Student Tea and Coffee Club. The Student Tea and Coffee Club, which before COVID held coffee mornings on campus for elderly residents in the city to provide conversation and companionship. Couldn't do that with COVID, but they switched it online immediately, switched it to distant communication through telephones to make sure people were all right, and delivered shopping and other essentials to those elderly people's homes. Absolutely wonderful. One example of many. Our students, including you, our new graduates, have shown tremendous resilience, commitment and compassion. Thank you for all you've done and the way that you've dealt with all the challenges of the last years. And thanks too to your family and friends, including those supporting you in this hall today. I'm sure they have helped you from time to time during your period here at the university, with advice, with companionship, the occasional shoulder to cry on, laundry services, I imagine, for some, and no doubt some money here and there. So graduates, what I'd like you to do next is to stand for a moment and turn to wherever your family and friends might be in this hall, and just raise the roof for them, would you? Yeah? Go on, stand up, go on. Yay! Thank you very much for that. I wish all of our graduates success and happiness for the future. Please keep in touch with us. As you crossed the platform earlier, you became members of the York Global Alumni Association. There's now 140,000 of you in 180 countries around the world. And through that association, you can stay in touch, you can share experience and insight, you can help and support one another, and of course keep in touch with what's happening here at the university. We'd like you to see the University of York as your university for life. And if you received financial support last year from our Emergency Student Support Fund, you have our alumni to thank, who donated hundreds of thousands of pounds to our students during COVID. One day, you too may be able to help future students at the university. And please, do think hard about your experience at York during COVID. You are a unique generation of graduates. You have the same academic credentials as earlier generations do. Like them, you've worked hard, you've mastered your subjects, you've got your qualifications. But you have something more. You've had COVID to contend with too. I think this university and this city had a distinctive, almost instinctive approach to COVID, based in compassion and solidarity, looking out for each other. You were part of that. It's an example of our values, of what a commitment to public good can mean. And I hope you'll take that with you as you move into the next stage of your life. You can be sure, and I think Sharon White was hinting at this earlier, you can be sure it's something your future employers will value. We're going to finish next by showing a video which was part of a submission which led us to being shortlisted for University of the Year because of our COVID response. I hope it will help you remember and reflect on how our community came together. Thank you very much.
At the University of York is one of the 2 Chinese citizens who have tested positive for the coronavirus in the UK.
So this statement from Public Health England confirming that the 2 people had been staying in York.
Coronavirus is a student at the University of York. My camp from our newsroom is
When the first case in the UK was discovered here in York, I was visiting one of our partner universities, Maastricht in the Netherlands. Being the first case, there was obviously no script for us to follow. But at the same time as having the world's media looking at us, everybody was here. We brought together a contingency group, medical experts, others who could help us think through the issues that we might face, and we worked from the outset with the City Council and the other educational institutions in the city. Well, we knew very little about the virus at the time, and our overriding concern was to keep people safe and to give them the reassurance that we could, and to prepare for what followed, what became probably the most challenging year the university has ever faced.
At the time, I think emotions were kind of all over the place. There was so much uncertainty, which provided you a little bit of fear for the unknown and panic about what's going to happen next. The university was brilliant in that regard. They set up a phone line for students, for parents, for staff within the first 24 hours that anyone could call for any questions and reassurance.
The key thing was listening to students and making sure that they could see leadership, and also a lot of compassion and kindness, because it was an uncertain time both for staff and for students. One of the main things the university did was introduce the Emergency Student Support Fund, one of the first universities in the UK to do so, recognising that students would lose things like part-time work and there'd be various financial challenges facing students, and that was really important to give students that financial certainty wherever they were.
We actually listened to what students and staff had to say, and with students we listened to what they had to say through their elected student representatives, being members of our contingency groups, and also by conducting pulse surveys as well, so that we captured the mood and indeed what students actually wanted, and we responded to that. We managed to get all of our teaching and learning online within a week of the pandemic starting, which I think is a remarkable achievement. We provided roughly about 6,000 welfare calls or checks on students in self-isolation throughout the pandemic. We actually provided lockdown loot for students as well. So we provided food, treats, activity packs, and even hampers at Christmas as well.
So clearly we would expect the university to step into the knowledge space and provide a greater, deeper understanding of the virus. However, the University of York went much further than that. It engaged communities, it's provided open access to equipment and facilities and space. It provided us with leadership and support and was very much a partner in dealing with the impacts of the pandemic on this city.
What I've learnt about the University of York community in the last year is that we are incredibly resilient and resourceful, that we're compassionate, that when we say that we're a university for public good, we actually live it as well, and it's about being a community that works together. I have a number of favourite stories from students. Actually, one concerned students actually working with elderly members of the local community to ensure that they could get access to the internet. So they provided training sessions and support so that these people could actually contact their relatives.
The founders of this university talked 60 years ago of what we, our staff, our students, would do to ameliorate human life and conditions. What a sense of purpose for a university to have, and my goodness, how much it has been our compass over the last year. That's what defines the University of York. I now declare this congregation closed. Please rise.